Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Another social sessions today. Today we have the topic the guy behind the hook, because out of the questions I've got from all of you through social media, many questions were about me as a person, what my preferences are, how I think about things. And today we are gonna answer those questions, which I find actually really fun, because I love to tell something about me and what I like and what I do. And so let's start with that. I have a lot of questions from you, so we're gonna walk through them one by one. And let's start with Li Ying. When and how did it become clear to you that you wanted to be a designer, and how did your creative journey started? Well, this question is probably, I have to refer to the first episode and how it all began. I guess that answers your question about how my creative journey started, because it all started with knitting a pair of socks and in the end designing a first pattern in the back side of my garden. But how it did become clear to me that I wanted to be a designer is actually because of you all. When I started crocheting, and especially designing crochet patterns, I was a nobody, and with nobody I mean no one did know what I did. I was never showing me off publicly crocheting. Only my family did know I was doing it, and even my friends didn't know it. So it was a very private thing to do. And one day I decided to open an Instagram account and just show something, because nobody knew me and it was a safe space to do. And that's where it all started. And I put down a photo, I uploaded a post about that first pattern I designed, and from that point it was really crazy, because people were so positive about what I did, that it worked like a chain reaction. It really gave me confidence to go on. And the part where people really started asking, like, okay, we want patterns, we want this, we want that, please write it down, work it out. Yeah, that gave me definitely the confidence to continue doing this. And through the years, like picking up so many things like commission work and work for so many other things, in the end now making your own books, do this kind of things, yeah, really makes me reliable in the thing that I made the right decisions. And I think it really gives me the feeling like I'm on the right path, and I'm also developing myself in showing myself. I'm not really embarrassed anymore in being a guy who has a crochet hook in his hands. It really doesn't matter to me anymore. I really have something like, okay, fine by me, if you don't like it, it's fine, go ahead. So through the years it made me realize this was the path I need to walk on, and I think that is the answer to your question. So thank you. Then we have a question from Sunipa. Which design left you mesmerized? And this question makes me a bit confused, because do you mean a pattern which mesmerized me, which I created, or from another one? Because maybe we have to turn this question to the pattern episode, where I answer both questions. Maybe that's the best answer to give you now, because otherwise I would once again start telling the same thing. So I'll leave it to there for now. Just watch the pattern episode. Then we have another question from Vicky. Do you have any other creative interests? Well, sure I have. It's not only crochet, Definitely most crochet. But I love more than just one thing. I love reading. You can see some books over there. Another thing which I really love is building Lego. I don't know how you say it in English, and not the child's version, but more the adult version. Like I don't know if it's truly to see on the camera, but I surely love the building of cars and all kinds of Lego ideas that coming up right now, like plants and paintings, and they are very good in bringing out very good things for adults actually at the moment, and that's something I find really fun. It brings me back to my childhood a little. But besides that, I also still love baking and cooking, of course, although I do it too few here at home because it's also my work for sure. I also am folding origami, well, not a lot immediate, but I will still do it. So that's also an interest. And well, yeah, sure, I'm a very big movie fan, which is not really a creative interest, but I love watching, going to the cinemas. And I mentioned it earlier, the painting of Leonard. Leonard is not a painter, a drawer, and he created a beautiful Marvel drawing with some Journey influences, my first book. And that's probably because I'm a big Marvel fan. So I think yeah, a lot of interest besides crochet, and that's a very healthy thing, because only crochet would be very scary because you would have no life. So there is your answer. Then we have a question of Moche. We can give our opinion what makes you special and what makes your signature. I am curious if that was your goal. Was it my goal that you guys give me, tell me what is special about my work and me, and what is my signature? Well, no, that was never my goal for sure, but I also don't mind it. It means, like, you can say whatever you like. It's not like it's for me a real big thing. Like, okay, fine, the negativity part. If you tell me all kind of negative things, yeah, that for sure would cause something. But if you want to mention what you find special or what is my signature, that's totally up to you. And for sure, it's only a big amount of credits to me. But in the end, I'm making and designing crochet patterns because I like it, and I'll just put out there what I think is right, and in my head it's the thing I want to make. But it's up to all of you if you like what I do and what you like, and if you like it and if you find it my signature. It was never my intention in first place that people have an opinion or whatsoever on me, but it's part of the deal, part of the game, and that's fine. I really don't matter, but I'm always very happy to read if people are really mesmerized or blown away by what I've came up with, and I think that's what you mean. And so yes, I'm very happy with it, so go ahead, fine, keep continue on. Thank you for asking, by the way. Then we have another question of my two favorite followers, Joanna and Mario. They are very sweet. They are mother-daughter, and up from, well, almost day one they follow me, and I really love the enthusiastic and always so kind way of reacting and commenting on many things, and they're a very fun couple indeed. And they also asked me a question, and the question is, how many hours a day do you crochet? What a lovely question. And I can only say it depends. For sure I have a day job, and when I'm working a day, in the evening is mostly crocheting, and then it can be easily 3 to 4 hours. if I have a day off, at least, because, well, since crochet thing is getting bigger and bigger, I also had to make choices in quitting some of the day job and putting some more time into crocheting. So in the meantime, I also have some days off to literally crochet or do anything related for it. And then it could be easily, if something has to be done, that I'm crocheting about 10 hours a day. And yes, that's for sure causes a lot of aches and pain and whatsoever. And I can't recommend it, but well, if you're a bit of an addict, I think it's part of the game. So let's say about at least 2 to 3 hours a day. Or I really have to be on a vacation, then it's most of the time a few days nothing. But there are also days it's like 10 hours, so it depends a little. Thanks for asking, by the way, a lovely couple. And then we have another question by Sunipa. Do you have a crochet story to share stemming out of history? Well, that's a hard question, because now I have to really dig into my mind, and it depends on, do you want an historical story about crocheting, or do you want just a story out of my history? And I assume you want the first one. But I'm not really, well, we have a rich history here in the Netherlands of crafting fishermen, which went up to sea to fish and to catch a lot of fish, actually. And people at home, or even the fishermen at sea, knitted and crocheted during the whole fish trip to make all kinds of different fishermen sweaters. But I don't know the real good story behind it, because you really have to dive into it. And well, if I did, but I can't do that now, I could tell you even more about it, maybe for a later moment. So let's park that one, and maybe in another social sessions we can really take the time to discover that. But yeah, well, I can't really answer it really well, sorry. And we have another question from Margie. Just tell us a story and take us on a journey into your world. Well, it's not actually a question, it's more how do you say it, more like a favor. But I can, well, while you now tell me in my journey, it makes me remind of my first book, Journey, which is very personal and based on many travel stories. For those of you who have already bought it and have it in your possession, you might recognize it, but maybe it is fun to tell you one of my travel stories which is in that book. And one of the most favorites, I guess, is still the one about Portugal in Lisbon, where I was planning a trip to Lisboa, actually, the capital of Portugal. I always, when I was traveling, I always did some research before I went there to see if there were also some hidden gems in the area, like not where all the tourists would go, but if there was also places like, okay, this is a really local non-public place where you need to be when you want to discover something special. And in Lisboa I discovered actually a local who told me, well, not told me, but on his blog, told me to visit one of the larger graveyards, which I found a really strange idea, but hey, why not do it? So when I was there, I was taking the old line from the metro, and it's a really lovely ride through the city in an old yellow metro. And at the end of the line you come in a really big graveyard, And I was walking through the gate, and I really had something like, okay, what's going on here? Why do I need to be here? And the moment I walked in, I was really surprised, because it was just like a city within a city, because on that certain graveyard, the people have the tradition to bury the past ones, of course in a coffin, but the coffin is placed into a small tiny house, and so the whole graveyard is filled with small tiny houses, and those are varying between very rich tiny houses, which are perfectly designed, built, decorated with tiles, have the best curtains and all kinds of decorations in them. But there are also very poor ones, like where you can almost, the door is falling out, you can just see the coffin, and it was very interesting to see. So I almost spent a whole afternoon there watching different houses, making photos, and it really gave me the inspiration for mosaic tiles, to create tiles with the mosaic technique, because that was the place where I saw the real Portuguese tiles, which you can find in all kind of different designs, geometric designs, and it really gave me the inspiration to create those. And that's what the whole, it definitely was the start for me to create mosaic tiles, which I have done a lot over the years in different patterns, but it definitely was also the inspiration for the Portuguese tiles, which you can find in my first book, Journey, or Crochet Journey. And yeah, that's a really personal story, which I really love to tell sometimes, because it's not like you can also tell when you go to Lisboa, okay, yeah, I went to, well, what can I say, some kind of touristic place. But those things are not really the first things you want to do, and that is what I like the most about visiting countries or cities or whatever, exploring the real fun things about it. And not that a graveyard is that much fun, but it's really the worth it to discover, and it enriches you with the most beautiful stories and insights. And well, I think this is a lovely story to tell, definitely out of my world. There are many to tell, but I think this will answer your question pretty much. It's a good story. And well, this concludes a little bit about me, the person behind the Guy Two. It's for me, this whole thing, like social sessions, is a total new thing, putting myself in front of a camera, and you finally get to see an image of my head and who I am and what I'm doing. And yeah, well, a lot of people have already followed me for years, but you never had an idea who is behind this work. And I felt with a second book coming up, it would be time to show myself a little bit more, because there is nothing wrong with showing yourself. And well, now you know a bit about me, my preferences, and my stories through these questions, and I hope you find them very interesting to hear. Maybe we'll do some more personal things in the future with the social session things. For now, I hope you liked watching it, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye.